Ready? Well, I'd just like to thank everybody again for attending the town hall, the spring town hall meeting. Excuse me, I'm Tim Harrington, new mayor of East Bethel. And I just want to get a quick update on a couple of things. I've been getting a lot of emails and phone calls. Quick Trip is going to start in May, sometime in May. And the Yellow Budge project, probably the end of May, first part of June. So hopefully I've answered a lot of questions because people are out there saying no Quick Trip, but Quick Trip's coming. So I just want everybody to know. And with that, I'll turn it over to Jack. He wants to introduce his staff.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce the East Bethel City staff. First on tonight's lineup is Lieutenant Derek Peters. He's our liaison with the Sheriff's Department. Next we have Rod Sano, our fire chief. We have Nick Schmitz, our building inspector. We have Nate Ashford, our public works manager. We have Mike Jazorski, our financial director. We have Aaron Berg, our city planner. And we have Carrie Frost, our administrative coordinator, and Desiree Stanford, our financial coordinator. So this is our staff. They work hard for you. You got any problems, just give them a call and they'll take care of them. I'd also like to introduce too, we have Joe McPherson with the Anoka County Highway Department and Dan Schlender with the City of Blaine. They had the presentation on the intersection improvements, and also Jennifer Lewis with the Anoka Blaine Airport Commission. So these are the people that make things go around here, and we certainly appreciate all their efforts.
You want to open it up for questions from MnDOT first?
Go ahead with your stuff, and then when we get to the question and answer period, we'll.
I'm good. I'm ready.
Okay. In observance of people that don't live here and need to get home maybe a little quicker, if there's any questions about Anoka County Highway Department or the project that was on display in the senior center about the Blaine intersections, or if there's any questions about the Blaine Airport Commission, if we could do those first, and then that way these people can get home. They got a little bit of a drive, so we'll open it up to questions on those two topics first.
Does anybody want to come up got a question for MnDOT? Well, that was easy.
Everything's perfect.
I guess I got what's the overall time period on that from where you're going to start on the south end to eventually get up to Bunker? What's the overall time? I mean, a couple, 2, 3 years, or 1 year? Or?
Yeah.
You can come on up here.
Please.
Yeah, so thank you, Mayor. Again, my name is Joe McPherson. I'm the county engineer for Anoka County. And so just so everyone knows, the City of Blaine and Anoka County are teaming up on that Trunk Highway 65 project, so it's a combined effort by local agencies. As far as timeline goes, right now there's about a $121 million funding gap on that project, which we're still trying to secure money for. We're actively going after a number of different funding opportunities. If we were to secure the funding in the next few months, and we could build the whole project, it would likely start in late 25, early 26, and it would be a 2-year project.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions? All right, we did our job.
Can you?
Thank you.
Can you talk about the resurfacing that's going to happen on 65 next year?
Oh yeah, thank you, council member. Yeah, so the council member is referring to the MnDOT is going to complete an overlay on Trunk Highway 65. If you've driven that this evening, you can see there's a lot of fresh potholes out there, a lot of obstacles to dodge with your car. But that's going to start down in actually the city of Spring Lake Park, down at about 81st Avenue. And it's going to go all the way up to, I believe, 217th Avenue. Otherwise, unless they extend it, it might go all the way up to the county border. But it's going to be an overlay. And then some other projects and other things they're going to do during that is they're going to close some of the access points that are no longer necessary, try and consolidate some of those access points. And then at key intersections, like Constance, Crosstown, some of those other ones, they're gonna look at some type of safety improvements there, whether it's ADA improvements, which is Americans with Disability Act. A lot of times these sidewalks that exist, or the crossings and the ped ramps at the signals, those need to be updated to current standards. So with that project, they're gonna address those. And then probably some of the more impactful things that'll happen will be, there's a few bridges and box culverts that need to be updated and repaired. So as you get just north of Bunker there, there's a set of bridges that exist on 65. Those will actually get taken out and replaced. So there'll be some weekend closures to make sure that they can complete that work. But yeah, good question. And that'll take place starting in early '24. They might do some work later this summer for crossover work. So they'll fill in the median so they can cross traffic over where they need to. But the majority of the work will be '24, and they plan to have it done in 1 year.
Very good. Looked like we had a question right before. Okay.
Okay. Wonderful.
Oh, we got another one.
You know, you did that stretch of cement, and it seems to held up really well. I don't know how long it's been there. It seems like a while already, but is that something they think about doing more of? I don't know.
Yeah,
So-
good question.
So the question was, will there be any more concrete roads built?
Yeah, so in regards to the concrete that was done on 65, it is holding up really well as you take that stretch north. This project is still gonna be bituminous or blacktop, so that's what they're gonna move forward with on this project. It's really a maintenance project, but I could foresee in the future, because of the traffic volumes and the heavy traffic with trucks, that they'll do more segments of that in the future.
Can you address that 18 on the west side of 65? I mean, they've got road work signs coming up right now, and there's already concrete there, and it's really good. So I'm hoping that they're not going to tear that up.
Yeah, so what that one is, Mayor and Council and folks, is on 18, we've got what they call a white topping project, where we paved concrete over the top of blacktop. And so that concrete is holding up really well. What we're gonna do this summer is there's areas that when they built the concrete, because you can't drive on it right away, they left segments of the road out as they went down the road. So on that first pass, they would leave a 20-foot segment out. Then what they do is they come back and they fill those segments in. The type of concrete they use to fill in those segments is actually deteriorating too quickly. Sometimes it's a high early concrete, or other additives were added. Unfortunately, those segments of the concrete are starting to break apart prematurely. That's what we're gonna fix. So the road will stay there, we just need to fix some of that. If you drive 18, you'll see where those segments are actually starting to ravel out and the concrete's coming out. So, but yeah, we're not getting rid of it. That'll stay in place. Any other questions?
Is there any talk of adding, like crosstown constants under those big lights, in the road that are like a little warning lights, let you know that the light's about to change, like the cap on a little like motion light?
Yeah, did everyone hear that question?
Now,
Okay.
why don't you rephrase it, because being recorded, if you don't speak into a mic, anybody watching doesn't hear the question. So if you want to rephrase it.
Yeah, so the question was, is MnDOT gonna consider adding some of those early warning lights for signals? So if you've been on a highway before, you'll see the advanced warning where it'll start flashing when the signal's gonna change. That's a great question. I don't have an answer for that right now, but I could speak with MnDOT and see if that's on their radar and get back to the council here with that answer. All right, any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank
Jo-
you.
Thank you, Joe.
Joe, thank you very much, and we'll send MnDOT a message that they owe you some money for answering their questions.
That's right. Appreciate it, guys.
Well, with that, I'll open it up for questions and comments from the audience. Anybody want to come up, have a question or comments or? The only thing I'm going to ask, can you state your name for the records, please?
Hi, my name is Catherine Nelson. Question. I am a neighbor of Cambia Hills. What's going on with it? Anything?
Well,
What's the status of,
the meeting that Jack and I and Mr. Lewis attended here a couple weeks ago, is they're looking to reopen Cambia Hills, but there are some couple issues that they're still working on, so if they get these issues ironed out, then Cambia Hills will probably be open by the end of the year. So,
under Cambia Hills, I mean, same ownership?
no, new ownership, Nexus,
What is it?
Nexus, they have 5 other places they run, one up in Onamia, one in Fargo, and then three in another state, so. And they're only gonna take 30 kids, they'll take half of what the original Cambia Hills was.
So is it the same sort of
It'll be the same
treatment?
facility, same thing, yep,
Okay.
yep,
And
so,
same age group,
yep.
16? I think
10
16 or
to
17?
10 to 20,
Oh, 20, so a
yeah,
little
10 to
older.
20, yep.
Okay. Adjudicated kids? Or they're of their own?
They'll be by a doctor. Not,
Okay.
you know, they're
Not
not a court,
court.
no court, no
Okay.
courts.
So same
So,
as,
yeah.
okay.
92 employees, so if anybody's looking for a job, they're gonna, if they do open, they'll be looking for people to work there, so.
Third,
92.
They're gonna employ 92 people when they're at full load, so I'm sure there'll be employment opportunities. You know, when they get, if they do open up, when they get these two issues straightened out, so. Anybody else? We can't make it that quick.
I'm sorry, I should have said one more thing. Will there be, neighborhood meetings, or how will the neighborhood find out? Similar to last time where they won't? Is it just through council meeting?
Is it just through?
There will have to be a couple of public hearings for a bond issue. So that's one way, we can advertise it, or the city may actually want to hold their own special meeting here for people to come and be able to have questions answered.
Is it the May 13th regular council meeting that they're giving their presentation at?
They're gonna give the presentation of the conduit bond request
first.
on May the 1st at their work meeting. And they said they wanted to bring that back on May the 8th, but I don't know if we're gonna be able to entertain them that time. But there will be a work meeting here in City Hall on Monday, May 1st, and they're gonna explain the financing aspects of this proposed opening.
Is it a nonprofit?
Yes.
So no tax money coming in?
There will be the same tax program that we had with Cambia Hills. It's called payment in lieu of taxes. It won't generate the type of property taxes that a for-profit would, but there will be taxes, but it's only if they actually make money. So there will be some, but it won't be comparative to a private organization.
Anybody else?
I think you solved all the questions with telling everybody
know.
Quick Trip is coming.
Well, I mean, I've been getting just a ton of calls lately. People, I don't know why, social media, I don't know. I quit looking at it because there's a lot of negative people that say it's not coming, and, you know, why don't they call one of us or the city and get the information before you put it out on social media? That's just, you know.
Yeah, too many rumors
Yeah,
and
it is.
misinformation gets spread, unfortunately.
Like I said, they've got a couple things to take care of, and then they want to get going. I know Quick Trip wants to start, but they've got a couple of things they got to clear up too, so.
You said the people put it out on social media first. How come the city doesn't let us know it first?
Oh, he's referencing, people are asking questions.
Yeah, on
Oh.
Facebook and stuff like that, and the two East Bethel sites.
Oh,
They're
oh.
just putting things out there that Quick Trip's not coming. Well, where do you get your information from that they're not coming? That's, you know.
But
You-
have you put out doesn't East Bethel have a Facebook page? Have you put out that it is coming in the day?
Well, they could. We do have a Facebook or a,
We do. We don't normally make those types of announcements. I mean, we can, but as Tim said, the best way, if you want to know something on those types of things, just call City Hall. We can furnish the information. But some of that, we don't like to put it out until everything's finalized, because there can be some things that happen that may postpone it, and we want to make sure that when we announce it, that the date's going to be accurate, and there's not going to be any changes.
Or you might be missing information, or you don't have all the information yet, and so some questions can't be answered. So sometimes it's just best to wait till everything is
Yeah.
together.
But again, if anybody wants any updates, call one of the council members or call myself or Aaron at City Hall, and we'll give you an update on where we are at this time.
Any other questions, comments? Wow. Does,
Well-
council, anybody have any comments?
Well, one thing we can kind of talk about, with the EDA, we do have our president, Julie Lux, in the audience. One of the things that we have begun talking on is starting up the Business Expansion and Retention Program, the BR&E. We did this program in 2016, I believe it was, and it is a program that was developed by the U of M. That essentially you get a lot of people together, volunteers. Those volunteers go out to the existing buildings, existing businesses, any home occupations, and they interview them with a set of questions. And then all those interviews, surveys are returned back to the U of M. The U of M reviews everything, puts it through some sort of fancy machine that gives them answers of what is missing, what does East Bethel need. And so we did this in 2016, and we got 4 areas, main areas that the city was lacking in, and so we did start up some task forces to address those things, which did give some results. Did make some differences, and so now we would like to start this up again, revisit the businesses, and there's some new businesses that have moved in. Was be 4, 5, 6, 7 years can make a difference in a lot of things. We had a lot of things happen in 2020 and 2021 and 2022 that changed a lot of the ways that businesses do business with clientele. And so we are looking to revisit this, do another BR&E program. We had a meeting with Connexus, their community engagement person, this last month. Connexus was a valuable partner with our first BR&E program. They sponsored it with $5,000, I believe it was, or $6,000, but they gave a very nice check to the city so we could help do this. This next month we will be meeting with the representatives from the U of M to talk with them, try to develop some sort of program that would meet our needs for what we want to do. And I would suspect if we can get everything together, get a program put together, get volunteers together, that by this summer we will hopefully be out in droves interviewing businesses, seeing if they need anything, if there's something that's lacking, something that the city can do for them, either if it's what it was called a red tag item that needs to be done right away, like a huge pothole. There's lots of potholes this year, just for example. Or if there's something else that will have to be addressed that multiple businesses need, that we can put a group together to possibly address those items. So that is one of the business efforts that we are going to be doing this year. Others question?
I don't know what they're called, but are some stations for the electric cars? Did the city have anything like that?
The question was, does the city have any charging stations for electric cars? And I do not believe they do. Possibly Jack or Aaron with the new Holiday and the new Quick Trip, would they possibly be having any charging stations? Do you know if they incorporate those now?
I don't know if they'll have them here. I don't remember seeing anything on their plans. I didn't review their plans in that type of detail, but Of course, the closest charging station here now is at Coburn's in Isani. And I guess the next one's probably somewhere in Blaine, but, I'm not sure what the Quick Trips or Holidays plans are for those. We just have to wait and see, and, we can probably check with them and find out. But I would assume now that they're probably not gonna incorporate those.
So is that something that people would like in the city? No, that's good, but you raise something that things change, and that is something that may be needed in the city. No, it's a very good question that you brought up.
Honestly, don't plan to give
No, it's a very good question, and I'm glad you brought it up. So,
Didn't some of the federal standards change that we're gonna be switching over to more electric for cars? Is it for 2030?
the question is, isn't there a federal standard for developing more electric cars by 2030? I believe there is some sort of program that the governor, that's one of his prerogatives. But we've never seen any any plan for it come across our desks here unless,
And we won't, that's not in our,
Well, I'm just
yeah.
asking if that would
yeah.
change.
And it could, but you know, I think probably that's highly optimistic to reach that kind of goal. I don't even know that in the climate we live in more rural areas where they're even practical at this point.
I could add, you guys, that the federal government likely, when they're spurring programs, gives the money to the state, and the state distributes the money how they see fit. And if it's a grant-based program or something, then they would open that up to local jurisdictions to be able to apply for the grant to receive the federal funds as a conduit for that money.
So, great question, thank you.
I have a question about your last topic, about the BRD.
Sure, why don't you come up to the microphone? It's
It's
best.
okay.
I'm wondering about the BRD, how the businesses are contacted or how the businesses are chosen to be contacted, if it's all of the businesses in the city, if it's a volunteer basis.
The city gets a list of all the businesses, and then once we have our volunteer group put together, that is split up into pairs of volunteers. Those volunteers are either given 5 businesses to go interview, or they pick 5 businesses from a pool. So then they go out and the volunteers themselves will contact the business to set something up.
The reason I'm asking is I would like to make sure I'm contacted this time. In 2016, I wasn't.
Okay.
So is there a way I can go about making
Um,
sure I get contacted?
Why don't you give your information to Jack after the meeting?
Okay.
And the way that normally works, and it would have to work this time, is that's done through the chamber. The chamber was the big source of most of the volunteers last year, and they're the ones that actually did all the interviews, although they recruited people from the community to help them along with their members. So I would just send your information to the Chamber of Commerce, because they'll be the ones that select the ones that get interviewed.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely.
One thing I might mention is in the most recent East Bethel Bulletin, which is our newsletter to the community, East Bethel Communications Survey is the lead topic. And it's set up so you can either scan a QR code if your cell phone is capable of doing that. Some people's aren't. Or you can get, I tried to go to the site, and so did my wife, and it didn't work for us, but Carrie assures me that it worked for her, so I can't explain, I can't explain that, but anyway, the city has the forums too, if the QR code doesn't work for you. But all it is reaching out and saying, what is the best means of communicating with the community and hearing from the community? What are, not one avenue, but what are the best means, plural, of doing that? Because one of the priorities we have, and we always have, every city council does, is wanting to hear more from the community and being responsive to it. So if you do get your bulletin, if you could please give us feedback on that, we'd appreciate it.
Can we get a copy of that survey tonight?
Yeah, I spoke to Carrie about it. Has she left?
I think so, but I'll get you a copy.
All right, thank you.
You know, she must have, she had a stack of them. She must have left them on her desk or something.
Left it back on the table back there?
Well, I'll go check.
As long as Kevin's out, any other questions, comments?
Is there any questions for our fire chief?
I don't have any questions, but I want to thank Nate Ashford and the Public Works guys. They've been out there filling a ton of potholes. I know they put 100 ton of tar on Old Hidden Haven, behind Hidden Haven there, and that's just one section in one neighborhood that they hit. They've got a lot more to go, but I want to say thanks to him and his Public Works guys, and now they're out trying to sweep these roads, and so I think they got a lot of work cut out for them this summer. They got a lot of stuff, a lot of potholes to fill, so thanks, Nate.
And I'll add a little update on some of our street projects this summer too. Nate may have some more to add to that, but we're gonna apparently have two major reconstruction projects. One of them is University Avenue between Sims and 221st, and the other is 183rd Lane from Greenbrier to Everglade as you go into Lakeview Point. There'll be some other minor overlay projects in two other areas in the city. And again, if you have any issues with streets, issues, roads, potholes, please call it into us. We've probably heard them all, but there's some I'm sure we may have missed. We want to make sure they're on the list and get them taken care of.
Thanks, Jack.
How long is the road gonna be closed down between 21st and Sims? Gonna be closed down for a period of time?
What's that, Tom?
221st and Sims University, is that gonna be closed down for a period of time? Traffic?
Nate, you want to come up and?
The question was, is University Avenue going to be closed down for a while? It is going to be closed for a portion of it. It'll be open to local traffic to get in and out of the developments, the whole project. Same with 183rd, that project, that's the only way in and out of that neighborhood. And it'll be open to the local traffic for the entire project. We are doing an overlay on the development that is by John Anderson Park off of 233rd and Highway 65, so that'll get new pavement this year as well. And we are doing an overlay if you live on 7th and Washington Streets. It's up off of 237th near the Bethel border. That neighborhood is getting overlaid as well. Next Monday at the City Council work meeting, we're going to be going over our pavement plan for the next 5 years. We've got a lot of streets that are a lot of potholes this year. Like the mayor said, we put down 100 ton in a couple days. We're up to over 200 tons so far this year. But we're kind of doing a triage. We're doing the worst ones first. We're going to get through all of them. It's going to take a while, so we ask for patience from everybody. Today they worked off Breezy Point Drive off of Viking Boulevard. Was a really bad area. They'll be making their way through the city. We'll get them all filled, but it's going to take a little while. For our Parks Department, we are doing some playground equipment repair this summer, and Whispering Oaks Park is going to get a new piece of playground equipment. We're working on a trail system at John Anderson Park. That a portion of that's going to probably get paved this year. We're in the process of getting quotes for that. We're looking at the skateboard park in Booster West is overdue. We're looking if that's a necessary improvement or if we need to spend that money on something more for more people in the park over there. And the same thing with next Monday, we'll be going over a capital improvement plan for the park system too. So it's a 5-year plan. It lays out projects. And we're looking at both of these plans. We'll set the projects for next year. And it lays out the following 4 years after that too. They can be moved around, but it's mainly for what's going to take place next year. So, any questions for parks, public works, any of that type of stuff?
Are we planting trees in any of these parks where all the trees are dying down?
Are you talking about Booster East?
Only that one. There's a few of them.
A lot of them were lost there to do it from oak wilt, and a lot of the Scotch pine have died over the past few years. We plant 2 or 3 new ones there each year. We have some money set aside for planting, and we try and plant when we can. A lot of the ash trees we have in our park are probably going to be doomed from emerald ash borer. We're not treating those trees. It's too spendy to do it year after year. We're just gonna try and replant them and take them down when they become sick. Emerald ash borer is in East Bethel. If you see your ash tree dying this summer, chances are it's from emerald ash borer. But you can give us a call too. We can try and help you identify it if you have any questions. But emerald ash borer, there's another disease called two-line chestnut borer that affects oak trees, and then obviously oak wilt. Everybody's probably familiar with that in our area. So those are the big ones in our city. So, any other questions for us?
Thank you for your work.
Thanks.
Thanks, Nate.
Thanks, Nate.
Anybody else?
It was also Nate's department that responded so quickly after those straight line winds that blew down a bunch of trees. That was his crews.
Denise Lashinsky, can you give us an update? Is there ever going to be a grocery store? Do we have any fast food restaurants? Are there things for kids to do?
They can go to a Quick Trip.
It used to be Gopher at gas, that would be my answer for that, but.
You know, Denise, I don't know, you know, we don't really know anything, but I know on that east side that he has commercial lots set up for a grocery store, for fast food, some kind of medical clinic and a daycare. But it, you know, he's, you know, whatever he
know.
gets in there, and you know.
I'm just wondering if there's anybody else who's looking at our area.
Not that, we haven't heard anything unless.
We have had nobody that's come to us specifically, but remember, the key to getting a grocery store is retail follows rooftops. And with our market area, we're located almost equidistant from Cambridge, Blaine, and Forest Lake. 15 miles in either directions. There's Walmarts, there's Targets, there's Menards. We're gonna have to grow essentially our own market here. And there's some things that have happened that are making that occur, but I don't know if it's a fast enough rate to attract a grocery store. Probably first grocery store we get may be a hybrid type model. The grocery business is changing rapidly too. But Mr. Burstead is hopeful that at some point in time, one of his lots will be the size of a grocery store. We do have the property at the intersection of 22 and 65 on the northwest corner, which is owned, we know, by County Market. We haven't had any conversations with them probably in about 3 years. Their intentions are to hold on to that until they get a better market here. They state that if they open a store there, it's gonna affect their St. Francis market. So I think they're sitting back waiting for residential growth to occur here to generate enough market to offset their loss for the St. Francis store.
Yeah, we're hoping that when they build these townhouses, maybe, like they said, they wanted to see roofs, so maybe this will be the, push them over and maybe the grocery store. Like I said, we'll have to wait and see, so.
As a member of the Parks Commission, we're looking at putting in a new park. We're looking for feedback for the southeast corner of the city because we don't have a park there right now. So I just want to let everybody in East Bethel know, give us some input on what you're looking for in your parks because we can't do what you won't let us know that you need. So that's my parks blurb.
Is that gonna be over by the Elevage project? Is that where that park's gonna be?
Well, we looked there, but you know, that's been in flux and with the other development leaving or
Okay.
not going through, it's still wherever we have city land or whatever gets
Okay.
donated. But we are always looking for input, so
Okay.
it would be nice if we could get some feedback from people who are moving into the area or who have young kids, because we don't know what, honestly, my kids have graduated college now, so I don't know what the little kids are doing these days.
I do know that, I was over at Viking on Monday, and this is the last year for Viking. So, you know, there's gonna be another housing development going in there supposedly,
Right,
so.
and I think it didn't fall through a couple years ago or last year.
Well, it just fell through here, maybe last year, one of their investors backed out, but now they got a new investor, so.
Okay,
But Viking did say they're open this year, but this fall they're done, so they're gonna close up and the developer will take over, so.
Okay,
Again,
cool. Well, then we
another
can-
bigger area for a bigger park.
Right, well, then we can work with them maybe on some ideas. But I'm imploring people from the city of East Bethel to give us some feedback on what you want. Once we make a plan, it's hard to move backwards, so.
Yep, and when are the,
Communications.
when are the parks meetings?
Parks meetings are on the second Tuesday of each month at 6:30 here in City Hall.
So,
And then I think through the summer, which we did last year, I don't know if we'll do it this year, but we did meet at different parks to get neighborhood input, so.
yep, the schedule's on the city calendar on the city website. But if anybody has suggestions for parks or input or anything, just show up at a parks meeting.
Right.
You don't have to be on the agenda or any special thing like that or fill out forms. You have something to say, come talk to the park commission. They are all very nice people and
We're
they,
the funnest group, which
they
is what you
are.
want in your parks, right? All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
As long as you're up there, one thing I'd like to see is, you know, you guys talked about lights at one time over here in Booster at the new ball field. Cause I'd like to see the bandits get out of St. Francis. I mean, you know, they're paying St. Francis money where they could be back
And
here in East Bethel where they
We
belong.
would like that too, that's why we built the regulation ball field,
Okay,
but the
Yes.
lights are
Expensive.
cost prohibitive, so we're trying to figure out an alternative. for
okay.
that.
But I'd like to bring that ball team back to East
I
Bethel
would
where it
too, because
belongs.
then I only have to walk from my house.
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah.
how many tiki torches do we need to replace the lights?
I don't know. We did do some things
What?
around the outdoor rink, but they
About
were not
1,500 maybe?
safety approved, probably. But we're looking into some alternatives. Nate was looking at some used lights that we could possibly buy, you know, if there's anything available, but they are super expensive, so.
Day games. All day games.
That doesn't work if you have a job. Even the kids, the older ball players, they want to play night games and they have to be done by 8:15, so it gets too dark to play. Any other questions for me? All right.
Thank you,
Thank
Denise.
you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Tim, anything? Ruth?
You mentioned housing development and townhomes, is that what's gonna be going in on Viking?
No, I think that's gonna be single family. The townhomes are going on the east side there in front of the golf course. And the developers, it sounds like single family homes on the golf course, so. I tried to tell the guy, why don't you leave the golf course and build houses around it, but he didn't like that, so. Anybody else? I don't know, it's kinda early, but
Council have anything else to add?
Why don't we do a citywide survey sometime, you know, like where she brought up about the parks and stuff like that. I know a lot of cities have been sending out, flyers and stuff like that to do a survey. Yeah, but I'm just saying, pop it out there, because it just seems like when we're talking about the parks and stuff like that, in my area, there would be no need for it. Where would you ever put it? You're gonna tear down a house to put a park up and find out what the citizens really want, because most of the time in government, we're minimum 2-acre lots out here. And when people come out with their own kids, putting up their own playgrounds, it just seems like that's a low priority. And having kids go through St. Francis School District, I never saw that as a priority, as the parks out there. It was never something, neighbors never heard about it. The main thing I hear, keep taxes low, and I think my services are good. The sheriff's department is good, the fire department. I don't think that's a priority when people come out here to live. Is with the
The
parks.
number one thing that people ask me about is trails.
What's that?
Bike trails, snowmobile trails, anything for outdoor recreation.
But you still have the property and stuff like that, that's not the same
Right.
size
Well,
lots and stuff you're gonna go there, so.
I don't know if we're bike around our house, but, you know, some people might, I don't know.
So I'm just saying, some type of survey, just to find out what the citizens are, if they wanna respond to that.
is that something the Parks Commission would,
I'm just talking city.
Nate, you could maybe draw something up, or?
Well, maybe something we can put in the next city newsletter.
Yeah.
Get a little survey that the park commission can put together, say 5 questions or something, make it easy and get it out in the next newsletter.
Actually, we'd like to build on this, starting with a communication survey, which is kind of where it starts. Another thing we've talked about is about 7 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, they did a few listening sessions in the city, hired a consultant and all that business. But to, get the residents to show up at a meeting and say, what is your vision for East Bethel? And it's about time to revisit that too. So the vision of, because you have new people coming, people move away and all that, it changes over time. But the vision would be one thing, and parks and other public facilities would be another aspect of that too. Again, to get feedback from the city, to give feedback to the residents, and just get a dialogue going.
How many residents are there in East Bethel?
About 11,700 last number I saw.
Give or take.
Then,
Yeah.
once you find out about the returns, will you say how many of the 11,000 people responded to the survey?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be 11,000. A little bit less than that. But yeah, yeah. Well, that's actually a measure of how good our communications actually is. Is if nobody responds, then we didn't do a very good job of communicating it. But you have to start somewhere,
Yeah, and I'd just like to remind everybody, Booster Day is July 15th. We're still looking for volunteers. If anybody would like to volunteer, you don't have to come to the meeting, just show up that day and we'll put you to work somewhere. Everything's gonna be on the east side this year. The only thing on the west side will be fireworks and the burnout, so senior center all the way around up to the blacktop up there, so you can stay on one side of the road this year, so. Mark it down on your calendar. We hope we have a big turnout this year.
Yep. And this Sunday we'll have roadside cleanup put on by the Fire Department Auxiliary. So if anybody is interested in volunteering for roadside cleanup, they'll be meeting at St. Andrew's Church at 11 o'clock this Sunday. Any volunteers for them are welcome. I believe there's a meal afterwards to fill everybody's stomach.
When you mentioned road cleanup, the Cedar East Bethel Lions will be doing I think it's from the recycling center east on May 20th.
Okay,
Is that when the open house is, Ruth? They decided on May? I thought they were gonna go later.
No, the open house is the end of September.
Yes, they're gonna open that up to the public?
But the road cleanup,
Okay.
we're doing.
You're doing on 22, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, this is the auxiliary's doing 65, from 221st up to 237. So,
Okay.
yeah.
yeah.
But what was your announcement? The Lions will be doing road cleanup on what day? May 20th.
That's a Girl Scouts, right?
Yeah, Girl Scouts help.
Yeah, they help.
So are you looking for volunteers for that also?
I think the Lions and the Girl Scouts will handle it.
Okay.
And then like Ruth said, the end of September, they're gonna open it up for a public tour of the recycling center, so you can see what's done over there, how things are, put away and what bins go and stuff, so if you wanna, come over to the recycling center, we're gonna.
I think that's the last Saturday.
Last Saturday in September, yeah, I think they're gonna have hot dogs or something, but, yeah, at least come over and see what the recycling center does, so, if you have the date open.
Are you gonna put that in the newsletter?
We can do that, we'll put it on TV, we'll get it everywhere, we'll get it on the reader board, we'll put it everywhere. Yep. That's one way to get the information out, so.
So is there any other announcements of upcoming things?
No, I haven't got anything. Jack, you got anything else?
No, I think
Mr.
we're
Berg?
pretty well up to date and covered.
Well, we'll do it one more time. Anybody else? Any questions, comments?
Any questions for our sheriff's department?
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Anything for our fire chief? We'll get him yet.
Yep.
Rodney, where we at? 310 calls now?
307.
We're on pace for 1,000 calls this year then.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
What's the average?
That's a lot of calls, so.
What was that?
What's the average?
Average?
Calls.
It's been going up every year. So we average over about 60 calls increase every year.
And the majority are medical calls?
75% of them are medical or more.
Yeah, they go to everything, Denise. You know that. They go to every call, any call they go to, lift assist, anything, so.
Realize that
Yes.
how many medical calls.
Yeah.
they have.
I mean, some of the cities, they just go to like life or death one. East Bethel goes to everything. You call 911 and ask for the fire department, you're gonna get the fire department, so.
Yep.
And I wanna thank them guys for their service. I mean,
Absolutely.
they're down a few bodies and I appreciate everything you guys are doing for the city.
Yep. Absolutely. Both the fire department and the sheriff's office.
Okay, I got another question, I'm sorry.
Sure.
You know, from the Anoka County Sheriff, I get an email that says how many calls they've gone out on, but I don't know if East Bethel is involved in that. And it would be nice to have the city, so we knew what our police force and the fire department are doing in our city too.
Yeah,
They give a monthly report, Ruth. I can bring that to you to the next Lions meeting. These guys, they come once a month, the end of the month, and give out a report of what's going on in East Bethel, both fire and,
I'm just saying though, like, I don't, I'm just gonna pick Blaine, that in the sheriff's report, or whoever that lady is that does it, if you can get their email address and put that in our city in there.
oh, okay. I don't know if that's something that you guys can do, Mr. Peters, or?
Yeah. Good question. I thought that the city was actually included in those numbers, but I'll double check that. Yeah, Laura Landis is our crime prevention specialist, so I'll touch base with her tomorrow and just make sure that we include that. It should be in that newsletter, definitely, and if it's not, it's certainly an oversight on our part, and we'll correct that.
I think it might be, I think it goes by city.
Okay. I'll double check tomorrow. Thank you. Good question.
Well, if there's nothing else,
Well, one last
one last
call.
hurrah.
Ruthie, you must have one more question. Well, if there's nothing else, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made, second, discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, that motion passes. Still a lot of cookies next door, so, and if you have something you wanna talk about,
Yep.
we're available.
Thank
Yep.
you, everyone, for coming out. It's always great to